guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Heather. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, elementary, high school, and recent graduate. Today we are going to be setting up my October goals as well as talking about how September went. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so September was a little crazy. If you are new, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. I set up my quarters differently than the traditional 4 quarters of a calendar year. My 4th quarter starts in September and goes through the end of November. And December, I do not set new personal goals. I do have a lot of projects. I do have a lot of work things that I do in December, but I try not to set a lot of new stuff up because my focus is on traditions and my family. So at the start of September, I had my 13th week / quarterly refresh. It was the first week in September. And then I started my goals on September 8th for September. And my September goals technically will go through October 5th, and I will start my October goals on the 6th. I'm filming this on September 30th, so it's seems really late to me to be setting my October goals, but we've been away for about a week, and so this is when I have to do it, and we're just going to go with it. I thought that I had really set up the month of September well. However, that is not really what happened. So I started my goals on the 8th of September, and then towards the middle to end of that week, there was a lot of stuff going on in the national news that really impacted how I was working through my days. And so I was not as productive that first week as I had hoped to be. It was also a break for homeschool for us that week. And so I had expected to do a lot more that week, but it just didn't happen. And that is what it is. You know, we just have to keep moving forward. We can only plan as well as we can. And then when things come up, we just kind of have to go with it. So let me go through my monthly projects first with you. The first is read digital minimalism. One of my goals for the 4th quarter is to focus on a digital declutter. My goal, what I said my goal was for this particular thing for the quarter, is to organize email inboxes, photos, videos, and computer files. That is what I mean by a digital declutter. The first step for me was to read Digital Minimalism. This is a book that I've read before by Cal Newport, and he does go through a digital declutter in the book, but that is written differently than what I was really going into the quarter trying to do. My focus is on the digital files that I have and the fact that I have, decades of emails that I really don't need. I need to unsubscribe to a lot of lists and such. So I did read Digital Minimalism, and it was my second time reading it. I thought that it was good. I was hoping it would be a little bit more motivating than it was, but overall I really like that book, and I do like his approach to a digital declutter, which is essentially just stop using digital tools or digital systems and social media and stuff over the course of a month. It's a little bit challenging for me to do that just because of my work and what we do for homeschool. And so I pretty much am off of screens and social media and digital tools except for those things, but those things take up such a huge portion of my days and weeks. It's a little more challenging for me to figure out how to manage that. I am still thinking about it, but I have made a lot of progress on my email inbox organization. When I set up my September goals, I just wrote email inbox organization, and then after I filmed that video, I immediately wrote progress, because I know that when I was writing this down, I was not expecting to get through 20 years worth of emails in my inbox. I just wanted to start the process of organizing them, deleting things that I don't need. I do a really good job at getting through my email each day. I don't have a ton of unread emails. I really don't have any unread emails, but my problem is that I just have a never-ending inbox and nothing is organized or sorted into easily found files. Yes, there is a search function. However, it does not work as well as I would like it to. Taking the time to at least process most of my 2025 work emails would be great if I could finish that through the end of the year, and potentially 2024. So at least those are organized, and then I can just archive everything else from my work account. And then for personal, I'm just trying to delete a lot of junk. There is just so much junk mail. I've made a lot of progress, so I feel really good about this goal. and I gave myself full credit. The next step was to figure out where all of the pictures and videos are stored that I have. And I'm talking only about digital stuff. I do have boxes of physical photos that are in my bedroom closet, and I think I have some in the basement as well, which probably shouldn't be in the basement. And I was able to do that. I've talked about this at length multiple places over the years. I have had several huge losses when it comes to photos and videos because of kind of that transition from printing your pictures to digital photo storage to cloud storage, and then, having an iPhone or digital camera cards and all of this stuff and external hard drives. I've gone through, I think, 3 big losses because I've had things that had a corrupted file, or there was damage to a hard drive, or there have actually been entire online systems that have just dissolved and disappeared, and then my pictures have just disappeared, which is unfortunate, but I have found everything that I can and I know where it all is. So my next step is to hopefully organize those photos. I've done really well with everything for 2025, but this is pre-2025 stuff, and there's just a lot. There's a lot from, the past 25 years, I would say, that I really would like to go through. And I am kind of sad that we have so much digital stuff now, because at least when you used film, you would get your film developed. They may not be the best pictures. You may have a bunch of junk that you just have to throw away, but you had the pictures in hand, which of course there's always risk of loss when you have a physical thing as well, but you weren't taking 40 pictures of the same thing and then having to take the time to go through all of those images to figure out which one picture you wanted. It's almost more time consuming to do digital pictures and videos than it would be if you were using an old school camcorder or a camera with film. So anyways, I gave myself full credit for that because I do know where everything is stored and I feel good about that. The next thing on my list was relating to my Notion exploration goal. It's very funny because I'm having a digital declutter as part of my goal, but then I'm also looking at digital note-taking database tools to kind of keep track of things that I want to be able to reference long term. And so these next 2 steps are part of my quarterly goal, Notion exploration for building a second brain system. It's kind of based off of Building a Second Brain by Tiago Forte. I did find one paid Notion template that looks absolutely amazing. I don't know if I need as much functionality as he provides. It is really, really good, but it is expensive and I'm not sure I need it. I also want something that's a little bit prettier, and this is very basic, which is fine. It doesn't necessarily need to be pretty, but for me to want to use a digital tool, I need to make it a little bit more inviting visually, and I'm unsure how to do that. I am still in the exploration phase because Notion is a tool that I just do not know. I've watched a lot of videos and within this project in the month of September, and I have a lot of understanding now. I'm just not sure I have the ability to create these things from scratch, which is why I'm looking at some of these templates. The template that I'm looking at is, I think it's called Ultimate Brain by Thomas J. Frank. He does have a free version of a Notion template, which I haven't really looked at much, but that might be enough for what I need. I'm still kind of unsure of how I want things to transfer from my physical commonplace journal notebook to a digital system. I haven't figured that out yet. I'm still kind of considering, and I know I just need to take some action there, but because I'm such a physical planner, paper and pen type of person, and this is more for an archival system, I'm just unsure what I need. But I have had a lot of fun exploring these pre-made templates. It's been really interesting to me because I love technology, I really do. And I think I may have mentioned this in my September goals video, that I have always been an early adopter of new technology until really the past 5-10 years. I'm less inclined to go get the new technology now because I don't have enough time to fully engage and learn that technology. So but I do feel really good about the progress that I've made there. The next step for this Notion second brain goal is monthly common planner transfer. And like I just said, I am unsure exactly what I need to put into a digital system yet. I take a lot of notes on books and other media, and having it in one central location that I can then search through when I'm looking for something specific would be helpful. But I'm not at that place where I've taken enough notes and organized them well enough to be able to categorize things. Maybe I just need to simplify it. Maybe I'm trying to look at too granular a level, but I have not done this yet, and I probably will not do this the rest of this week. I would like to say that I will be doing it maybe today or tomorrow when I'm doing my monthly reset, but I just don't think it's going to happen. The next thing was to sort homeschool materials in a couple of locations down in our basement. If you have seen my videos at all this year, you will know our basement flooded and I had to pack up all of our homeschool stuff, and then there were boxes of things just placed in various locations in the basement, and I haven't really touched them since I got everything boxed up and cleaned up in the basement. So I was going to do that first week in September, or the second week in September, but when I had scheduled it, that was when all of the stuff was going on in the country that was just distracting, and I wasn't able to focus on this. So I have not done this. I do not think we will be doing this week. So I'm probably going to have to push this ahead to October. The next thing was to go through some cardboard boxes in the basement of the kids' stuff, which we did, so I gave myself full credit for that. The next thing on my list is relating to my decluttering goal. These are all relating to my home declutter goal, and that was to read Joshua Becker or Brooke McAllery's books, or both. And I did not do that. I did pick up The Minimalist Home by Joshua Becker. I have not read that before. I did read his first book, but it was years and years ago, and I have not read The Minimalist Home. I saw it at the library and I grabbed it, but I have not had a chance to read it. So hopefully I will read that this week, but for now, no credit for that project. Then the last 3 items on my list are relating to kind of the slow holiday lead up, as well as just my normal rhythms goal. So the first is figuring out what the must-haves are and when I need to purchase them for the holiday season. We have a pretty busy fall with, I have Lucy's birthday in October, and my niece and nephew also have a birthday in October. Then we have a vacation week, we have Thanksgiving in November, and then we move right into Advent and Christmas. And so it's very busy. It is a very busy time of year, which is one of the reasons that I don't set goals in December, but I'm trying to get things done a little bit earlier this year than I have in the past 5 or 6 years, really since Lucy was born. She is a late October baby, and because of that, I have a really challenging time thinking about the holidays before her birthday. And so what ends up happening is we get through her birthday and Halloween, and then I'm thinking about Thanksgiving, and then I don't think about Christmas until after Thanksgiving, which should be okay, but it just isn't. There's just so many people to buy presents for, and it becomes this really chaotic time for me. So I'm trying to get back to how it used to be, which was I used to prep Christmas stuff in the summer because I used to do all homemade presents. I'm not doing homemade presents, but I am making a big dent in some of those to-do list items that I have every year, and I know that I have, first of which is figuring out what I need to buy for Advent and the holiday season that I can buy early, which are things like Christmas pajamas and advent calendars and some of those types of things. So I have done that, which I'm feeling really good about. The next thing was to brainstorm Christmas present ideas. I've not done that at all. And I honestly, I don't know. I don't know when I'm going to do that. I probably should put it on my list for October, but I think that I may have missed the boat with this one, and it's just going to be a fly by the seat of my pants thing, just because of how busy our October is. Jack's taking driver's ed, and we have a vacation, and that pretty much takes up the entire month. I also have a bunch of doctor's appointments and ortho appointments and other things going on. So yeah, we'll see. And then the last thing on my list for monthly action items was my monthly reset. It is the 30th. I am doing that today. It probably is going to carry over till tomorrow as well. I think that I had good intentions of setting it for today, but we just got back from a trip, being away for a week last night, and I am still doing laundry and trying to get the house put back in order and getting groceries and all of that stuff. So it is what it is. All right. This is a very long recap, guys. Sorry. The next section is the weekly rhythm section. And the first three things, even though they are in different colors, they are all relating to planning for me. And they're things that I was trying to implement on Fridays. So I put the Fridays here so that I could check off when I actually did these things on the Friday. Well, I didn't do it on the 12th because of everything that was going on. And then we were gone the 19th and 26th, and this next Friday, the 3rd, it's possible that I will check these things off, but I am unsure. I know that we have some other stuff going on Friday. I knew that when I set up these weekly rhythms, we were not going to be here on the 26th, but I didn't know that these 2 days would be not in the running for me to get stuff done. So there is still hope that I can get the last week done, but we will see. Food prep I've done every week, and I feel really good about that. I do have a grocery order coming today, and so I will finish my food prep today for the next week. Obviously it's Tuesday, and I try to do it on Sunday, Monday, but we were not here, so I haven't done it yet, but I plan to. Then I also have Sabbath rest, which is another part of my rhythms and systems goal, and I have done that for these 3 weeks. And then I have this coming Sunday as well, which I also expect I will get a check mark for. Then the last thing on my list is relating to my health and wellness goal. And originally I'd written weights down, and I've written that down a couple of months now. I realized pretty much as soon as I wrote that down that I wasn't going to do the weights. And so I crossed it out and wrote push-ups. And I know that push-ups is not something that you just do a couple of times a week, but honestly, I am doing it a couple of times a week, and I'm feeling good about doing it a couple of times a week. I really wanted to do weights. I just don't take the time for it. Push-ups is something that I can just stop and do right on the floor in front of me. I don't have to go to my basement or get the dumbbells out or anything like that. And so it was just a little bit less of a barrier for me to do that. And so while it's not exactly the same as what I wanted the weights to be, I thought it was a good substitute. And I wanted to still give myself credit for doing this because it is helping my health and wellness. Okay. Now we will get to the daily habits, and the first thing was my email inbox, and you will see that I've only worked on it maybe 5 days. I wanted to kind of see, I wasn't expecting to do it every day. I think that it would be better if I could do it 5 or 10 minutes every day, but what's ended up happening is that I'm really spending more like an hour or an hour and a half sitting down and working on this for a longer period of time. I think that once I have kind of all of the categories of where I want the emails to go, it will be easier, but that's not how it ended up happening this month, and that's okay. I still feel really good about my progress. The next thing on my list was my morning routine, and I did really, really well until we were gone, and then I wasn't really focusing on my routines so much. Commonplacing, I've done a lot more this month than I have in the past couple of months, so I felt good about that. Walking, I've been doing really great with. I have kind of found a rhythm of walking in the afternoons, which is probably not the best time, but it seems to be working for me. It would be better if I did it first thing in the morning so I don't have to do it later in the day, but my mornings just don't work for me to exercise, and honestly, they never have. I see a lot of people that get up and the first thing they do is exercise and they feel great for the rest of the day. It's just not something that I've ever done well. I mean, I'm more apt to do it in the summer, but even in the summer, I was more likely to go for a walk later in the evening than first thing in the morning. So at least I'm still walking. Then the next thing on my list was health tracking, which I did until we left for our trip. Every day, and I'm going to continue doing that. And then stretching, I have done okay with. Not as great as I would like, but I did do it a few times, and so I feel good about that. So that is September. There are a lot of spots where I have not crossed off anything, but I still overall feel pretty good about things, and just understanding that when things come up, you just have to adjust, and that's not bad. It just means that you have to adjust. Okay, so now we're going to set up October together. Okay guys, so October is kind of crazy because we do have a lot of stuff going on that isn't necessarily goal related, but it's stuff that I have to put down on my tending list. Well, I don't have to, but I do, and the reason is because I want to make sure that I am accounting for some of the bigger things that are going on so that I understand why I'm not doing maybe as many action steps for my goals in a particular month. And plus, a lot of these things are going to take a lot of time. And so I just need to make sure that they are on my list. So I'm unsure about encouraging words and priority for the month. I really don't know. The first thing that I am going to put on my list, though, is Lucy's birthday and our vacation week, which we are not going on vacation. It is going to be a staycation. We will be, doing day trips around the state. That's kind of what we do, and we enjoy that. It will be good. I also have to do the FAFSA, which this will be my first time doing that, and I have no idea what to expect. I'm pretty organized, and I do actually enjoy finance quite a bit, but I know that it's going to be a lot of work and thinking, and I'm probably going to be working on that starting tomorrow. Well, October 1st is when the FAFSA opens, I believe, and so I will probably do it over the next 4 or 5 days. So technically that's not part of this October month, but I am writing it down in case it takes me longer or I need extra information that I just can't find. We also have Halloween, and I also have to order my Thanksgiving turkey, which I probably should put down for my goal for the slow holiday lead up. I think I will do that. So I am going to put Halloween because Lucy needs a costume. I think Emma wants to make a costume. She wanted to be Manon from the Throne of Glass series, but I don't know that we have enough time for her to do that. I'm unsure. And then, they are taken with the K-pop Demon Hunters craze right now, so maybe they will do that. And I probably should not put both of these on one line, but I'm going to. So I need to order a Thanksgiving turkey. Although, honestly, I am kind of tempted to go out for Thanksgiving. We have a restaurant that's maybe an hour away from us that does a lovely, I think, 5-course Thanksgiving dinner. And I think that it would be fun to do that. We've done that in the past. My mom, my brother, and I were very unconventional when it came to holidays because it was always just the three of us. And so we did a lot of different things, like we would go to the movies on Christmas, and we always went to LL Bean on Thanksgiving because LL Bean is, it's a store in Maine. It's open every day. And so we would go to LL Bean. We kind of did Black Friday before Black Friday was a thing, I guess. And we used to go out to eat sometimes for Thanksgiving, or my mom would make a turkey. We just do a bunch of different things. And I kind of feel like it would be fun to not have to do all of the work for Thanksgiving and just go out to eat instead. But at the same time, I really like having all the leftovers, so we'll see. Okay, I think those are the big things that I need to work on. The next thing on my list is going to be for my decluttering goal, and that is to read that book, The Minimalist Home. I also want to sort the homeschool materials in those few areas in the basement. It's not all of the areas. I don't even know what I'm going to do. I have like 1,200 books boxed up right now, and thinking about having to reorganize those is not something that I'm excited about. So I will just sort these things and hopefully they will get done. I also wanted to sort the art supplies. That was going to be the next thing on my list. So I will put that art supplies, and we do have some toys in the basement that I need to just figure out if the kids are okay for me to get rid of, or if they're not, I need to box them and put them in the garage so they are just outside of the house. Then for my slow holiday lead up, I'm going to put down brainstorm Christmas presents because maybe something will come to me. And honestly, I'm sure all the Christmas stuff is out at this point. because it's the end of September. It comes out so early. In fact, when we were in Boston this past week, there was like a Christmas pop-up store, or maybe it wasn't a pop-up store, maybe it's just there all the time, in Quincy Market that I went into, and they had like this teeny tiny little Halloween display like shoved in the corner, but everything else was Christmas, like all kinds of ornaments and stuff. It was kind of fun to go through and see all of that. I want to either buy that paid template or use the free template that I saw and just start playing around with it with the commonplace stuff that I already have in here for 2025, and just kind of see what I want to keep track of and what kind of integrations I may need with other tools that I use. But honestly, one of the big reasons that I want that paid template is because it has some organizational sections for links and different information coming in for like recipes and book ideas and stuff like that. These are things that I tend to only go through on my quarterly refresh week. I don't do them regularly. And so I just have these notes with so many links to different books or recipes or AI prompts or all of that kind of stuff, but there's no titles on any of those links. It's just the raw link. So I have to like click into it to see what it is, and that's just going to take a lot of time. It would be helpful if I had a place to filter those into when I actually copy them. Then I also want to do the September videos and photos. This is my health and wellness color. It's health and wellness, but it's also kind of memory keeping, because that kind of fits in with that wellness portion, you know, the mental, emotional, physical, all of the different parts of wellness. So I want to do September photos and videos, which I have not done yet. And then I also want to do my monthly reset, which goes under my rhythms and systems goal. And now we are going to move into the weekly rhythms. And the first one, I am going to put these down again for Friday, and I don't know how realistic this is. I'm going to put weekly refresh because of the Notion goal that is going to be here. And that means just transferring things that I need into the Notion template weekly. Again, we will see. I'm pretty reliable about doing weekly planning, but switching everything to Friday is not as easy as I had hoped it would be. And I think it's just because I have such a well-established habit of Sunday planning that switching it to Friday is challenging. And then also we tend to be gone a lot of Fridays. So here's my struggle. And if you're not a homeschooler, maybe this won't really impact you, but I find that when I do homeschool planning, before I plan out my week overall, I miss things that I know are going on in my week that need to be accounted for. So I can't do as much during the homeschool week, or something just pops up last minute that I have to account for. And so when I've planned several days ahead of time for that next week, it doesn't work as well as when I do it on Sundays. And maybe that's just my mindset. Maybe I can figure that out. I actually saw one of my friends online does homeschool planning on Thursday, and because she doesn't want to take time on Friday to do it. And I just don't know. I really struggle to plan too far ahead in homeschooling, and I don't know why that is. I really don't. Maybe I'm just not consistent enough with our weeks and I have to shuffle things around a lot. Or maybe I just like to fly by the seat of my pants. I'm unsure. The next thing on my list is food prep, and then also Sabbath rest. And these are things that have been weekly rhythms for years and years and years, but food prep and Sabbath rest kind of fell off over the past few years, I would say, and I'm working on getting back to it. I'm feeling really good about things, but as we are homeschooling, I noticed that it's a little bit more challenging to include these things, which is one of the reasons that I was trying to move all of this stuff back a little bit, so that Sundays are more restful and I don't have as much stuff to do. And then the last thing, which is part of my health and wellness goal, is I'm going to put push-ups here. And I'm actually going to start tracking week 1 for this week. Even though technically this week is still in my September goals, I'm going to start tracking for October because it just makes the most sense for me. Okay, so for my dailies, I want to do my email inbox. I don't know how often I will do it, but we'll see. We will see. And then I do want to put my AM routine down because I've been trying to make sure that I'm doing all of those things every day. I also want to put health tracking, and I want to put my walk and commonplacing, and then the other thing is my one line a day. And the reason that I'm putting this is because I am doing my one line a day, but what's happening is I'm skipping several days and then I'm having to go back and do it. And I just write like 1 or 2 sentences here. And it's supposed to be like a positive thought or something fun that the kids did or something fun that we did. It's nothing negative. It's just really quick couple of sentences. I just need to make sure that I'm doing it every day because sometimes I will forget, and then I'll have a few days that I may not have something. I've been really good this month, but last month I think there were a couple of days that I did not get to it, or maybe it was in July, I can't remember now, but I just want to make sure that I'm keeping it at the front of my mind, so writing it here will be helpful. Okay, now I'm going to put some stickers on and we will see how this goes. Okay guys, so here are my October goals. We will see how it goes. I am feeling good about things, and I know that it's not as much as I think I had hoped for this fourth quarter based on how I did last month, but I am still making progress, and I feel really good about that. Understanding that there are things that are just coming up left and right this year is something that I've had to get used to. It has not been my most productive, goal-focused year, and that is okay. I've had to pivot a lot. That is challenging in and of itself, but just understanding that I am still making progress, even if it's not as much progress as I would like, is really, really important. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're looking for more help and encouragement around home and goals and homeschooling, I would love for you to come check out my membership community. That link is always in the description box. Today we're actually starting 31 days of slow living over in my membership community with some little challenges and some fun posts for you guys. So I'm really excited about that. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.